So good evening, all the participants to this webinar on doorstep astronomy. My name is Tariq Siddiqui, and I represent the product and marketing function in Collins Learning. Today, this session will discuss the interesting configurations which become visible arising from the celestial hide and seek between the sun and the moon. Many different aspects of solar and lunar eclipses, how to observe them safely, and take some quantitative measurements. I welcome Dr. Nandivada Ratnashree ma'am, who currently works as a director of the Nehru Planetarium, Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, New Delhi, India. Her work consists of astronomy education and outreach for the most part, and some archaeoastronomy research. She is particularly interested in interdisciplinary celebrations of astronomy. Dr. Ratnashree has a doctorate in theoretical astrophysics from the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai, where her work was on massive star evolution in binary systems. Her postdoctoral work was in the field of radio pulsar studies. Subsequently, she's been working in the field of astronomy education at the Nehru Planetarium, New Delhi. Dr. Ratnashree has been working towards participation with students and the general public in actual hands-on observations using the historical Jantar Mantar observatories in India. Over to you, Dr. Ratnashree. Thank you.
Thank you. I am indeed very grateful to you, all of you, Team Collins, for organizing this, and wherein I am trying to speak to all of you, young people, students out there, anybody interested in getting to know astronomy. And in particular, I had requested Team Collins that we do this, the very first of our sessions, in connection with solar eclipses, solar lunar eclipses. You all may have been aware that we just crossed one lunar eclipse which happened, 4th, night of 5th and 6th. We had a lunar eclipse which took place. It was a penumbral lunar eclipse. And in fact, it was something much, much more interesting that is ahead of us. And that is why I wanted that we speak about eclipses today in our doorstep astronomy sessions. And what is this? On the 21st of this month, 21st of June 2020, we have an annular solar eclipse which is going to be visible. In fact, the eclipse is going to be visible at least in some phases for all of India. And there are some parts of India where the eclipse is going to be visible in its maximum phases. So before actually I explain to you a little bit about solar eclipses, about lunar eclipses, what are the different configurations in which they take place, and what is special about this eclipse, why do we have this special category called an annular solar eclipse, how is it different from a total solar eclipse, and so on. Maybe what we could do is I would request Shrikant, if we share your screen, which should be a map. How are you going to access this map yourself? You can access this very easily. You just go to Google and you type solar eclipse interactive map, and the name of the creator is there, I think, here in the screen share, Xavier Jubia. You type this on your own along the way as we go on speaking. I want to be sure that all of you who are here in this session today are able to access one or other of these online resources which are going to tell you about this eclipse, how you are going to see it from your location, and so on. So now, this particular interactive solar eclipse map, if you access it on this page where it has been created by Xavier Jubier, there is also an Android app which has all of this information. This Android app has been created by an amateur astronomer from India, Alok Mandavgane. And so if you just look up uh, on your Android phones, if you look up solar eclipse apps, so with the name Alok Mandavgani, I'll try to type it in the chat at some stage. So you will be able to access this app. You can otherwise go to this one which we have now on the screen. You may also go to, there is a website, timeanddate.com. So if you go to that website, you may get a different version of this, but let's stick to this one which we have right in front of us. So let's do one thing on this map. Let's just exit that white table which is there, Srikant. And if we can just click the cross on it, and then let's zoom out. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out, wherein we can see the cylindrical region all over the earth. Yeah, I think that about that kind of zoom, that is sufficient. So you can see that there is a cylindrical region in the world which is shown in this map. What is the cylindrical region? This is a region where this particular solar eclipse, the annular solar eclipse of the 21st of June 2020 is going to be visible. Now, all regions inside this are going to see at least some part of the eclipse. Regions which are outside this are not going to see any part of the eclipse. Now, Srikant, maybe we zoom in a little. If we zoom into this map a little, we will see that there is a kind of a band. Do you see? There's a kind of a band which is going across India, northern parts of India. So this band that we have here, this is the region where the eclipse is going to be seen in the maximum. By maximum, what I mean is that this eclipse, when you see the eclipse at the maximum, the centers of the sun and the moon are going to be coinciding. If you see an eclipse as a partial eclipse, the centers of the sun and moon, that when you see them, they're not going to be coinciding. And okay, so I just need to ask one thing, Srikant. Is my video coming through? Because I wanted to show a few props and explain a little bit about the eclipse too. Is my video coming through properly? Okay. Or is there a lag in it? Or maybe on chat?
We can't see your video right now.
Okay. All right. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is try to get my video back. But meanwhile, let me just continue the discussion about the map. So Srikant, can we do one thing? Zoom in a little and try to go to Delhi.
Sure.
And if you'll click on Delhi there.
Yes, I'm almost near Delhi. Yes, I've clicked on Delhi.
So when you click on Delhi, a kind of a table should open up.
Yes.
Yes. So now I just want to tell all of you youngsters out there, this particular map is easily accessible to you. At some time, I think we are going to share. I think Srikant will share in the chat the link for this map. And we'll also discuss a little more how you can access various maps like this. But once you have this map, you can see that the table which has opened up. So the table is going to tell you all the eclipse circumstances. In the top right-hand side, you may see some time which is mentioned, the duration for which the eclipse is visible. And then when you come to the body of the table, you will see the eclipse is mentioned, some time is mentioned, the eclipse is mentioned, and the end of the eclipse is mentioned. Do you see that? And
yes.
Some times are mentioned. Some times are mentioned there. But if you see the times may look a little peculiar to you. Something 49 or something like that at the morning. And you may wonder, how are you going to see the eclipse at 4:49 a.m. in the morning? So what happens is that this timings, you have to add 5.5 hours to it. This is like GMT. It's written there UT, so this is called universal time. So to get our Indian standard time, you have to add 5.5 hours to this. So can all of you do that and check when the eclipse starts at Delhi? If we are here on Delhi, so I think it says around 4:49, right? So add 5.5 hours, so that brings us to around 10:29 a.m. in the morning, or whatever the time which is being shown here. And so that is the time when the eclipse is going to begin for us on the 21st of June. So there we are. And it will also tell you the eclipse is going to be maximum and when the eclipse is going to end. So this is the first thing you will have to know if you are from Delhi, for instance, or any of your locations. If you are not in that belt region, you will want to know where the eclipse is, what time the eclipse is going to be visible for you. Now, if you zoom out a little, Shrikant, and then we go into the belt region.
Yes, I've gone to the
And you
belt
click
region.
again when we are inside the belt region. If you click again.
Yes. ASC 2020 general circumstances.
Yeah. And so if we go into the, you zoom in, zoom in a little more into the belt. Just let's get rid of this white table and let's zoom in a little more into the belt, wherein you actually are able to see some towns and so on.
Yes, we are able to see Punjab, Haryana.
Zoom in a little more. Zoom in even more.
Okay.
Let's get rid of that white table and zoom in a little more.
Now we can see Noida, Ghaziabad, New Delhi, and Gurugram.
But now you go into the belt region, which is at the where you
Kurukshetra.
can actually. Kurukshetra is good.
Srinagar,
let's
Dehradun.
Kurukshetra, click there. Let's click on Kurukshetra.
Yes, I've clicked on Kurukshetra.
Yes. And so let's take a look at what it says in the table. We will see that the table, if you see at the top, the timing that it's showing is showing much less time than the time it showed for Delhi. That's because it is showing you only the actual annular phase of the eclipse. So it's going to show a little bit of time there, which is the annular phase of the eclipse. And in a little while, I'll try and get back my video and I want to explain to you what is the difference between the annular and the total and what are these timings and so on. But just take a look at the table right now. What is the table telling you? Table says start of the eclipse. It gives you 5 timings, I think. Take a look at those 5 timings. It gives the eclipse is going to begin. Partial eclipse is going to begin. Then it gives you a time when the annular phase is going to begin. Then it gives you it when the eclipse is maximum. And then when the annular phase is going to finish. And then when the partial phase is going to finish. Are you able to see all of these? So
yes.
This is in any of these regions, the entire eclipse will be seen. And at the maximum, what is going to happen? At the maximum, the sun is going to appear like a ring. Moon is going to cover the sun. But when moon covers the sun, for some reason, and we'll discuss what that reason is. For some reason, moon is not able to cover the sun completely. So it sits like a disk inside the sun, and there is an outer ring of the sun which is left. There's an outer ring of the sun which is left. So it's like a fiery ring. That's why this is called ring of fire eclipse. Such an eclipse is called a ring of fire eclipse. So this particular map, on your own, I would like you all to take a look at it as much as possible and explore for yourself, find out the time for your region. And if you are not in the maximum belt, just try to explore the maximum belt and try to find out for yourself what is the variation. There's one very interesting thing about solar eclipses. Even if you are right now not able to see the eclipse, today of course you are not able to, and on the day of the eclipse I can help you how you will actually able to get a proper Srikant, I'm trying to enter back in. If I'm
yes,
letting,
you're inside. You're
Okay. So where were we? We are looking at the map. We are looking at the timings. I want you to look at the timings for different regions. Go from west of India to east of India. Go from south to north, etc., etc. Take a look at how all these times are changing here, and that will give you an idea. See what's happening here. There is moon, which is a spherical object. Well, not a beautifully spherical object. It has valleys, contour of valleys and mountains all around the surface. But that spherical object is coming in front of the sun. It is covering the sun, and the shadow is falling on some part of the earth. The shadow is falling on some part of the earth, and it's like a belt. You saw the cylindrical region. So at one end of the cylindrical region, it starts and it travels across that cylindrical region. And so at different locations, which you can see in the map, if you can, Srikant, you could just click a location a little to the east and so on, you'll see how the timings are changing a little bit.
Yes,
So,
east, I'm clicking at Nanda Devi Park, and it shows 6 hours and 40
yes.
minutes.
Yes. So we can see that timings are changing like that. And so this is basically the eclipse information that I want you all to get. And Shrikant, if my video is now
Yes, ma'am, we can see your video. Yes,
available, I would like to talk a little bit about basics of eclipses and what's the difference about this particular eclipse. All right.
Yes.
So let's say this is Earth, this is the moon, and the moon has come in front of the sun. Sun may be the light out there also, and the shadow of this moon is falling on some part of Earth. The shadow of the moon has fallen. So you can see that this shadow is not something which is going to cover the entire Earth. It's not covering all of Earth. There is only a belt along the Earth where the shadow is moving. And as the moon goes around the Earth, the shadow then moves from west to east. You can see that the shadow would, if you are actually out in space, you would see that the shadow is traveling across that belt on the Earth. And now, if you remember what we saw on the map, there was that wide cylindrical region and there was a narrow belt region that we saw. So within this narrow belt region, is going to happen. If you see similar thing, let's say for a total solar eclipse, then such a narrow belt region, what would it see? It would see, if we think of this as the disk of the sun, the moon comes in front of the disk of the sun. And at this point, this is the beginning of the eclipse. This is where the eclipse has just started. The eclipse progresses, comes towards the sun completely. And this way you have a total solar eclipse, and then moon moves out, and this is where the eclipse is over. However, this particular eclipse that we have, what happens in this case is that when the moon comes in front of the sun, moon moves in front of the sun. This is where the eclipse has just started. Remember on the table, it was showing you some C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. So this is C1. C1, the eclipse has just started, partial. This is partial, partial, partial. And then this is when the eclipse is the maximum. This is C2. This is when the moon has just slipped inside the sun. And then it moves in, and where maybe the centers are the closest. This is where the eclipse is the maximum. Then it moves and touches the sun from the other side. This will be C4. This is just when the annular part of the eclipse is going to end, and then it moves out, and here we are. So this is where the eclipse is going to end. So these are the 5 timings that you saw out there. If you happen to be in this belt, then you would see all 5 of this. Suppose you're not in the belt, then what are you going to see? You're going to see a partial eclipse, right? So the partial eclipse is the moon comes, touches the sun here. This is the beginning, C1. Then it goes in, goes in, goes in. Maybe this is the maximum of the eclipse that you see. And then it goes out and touches it from here. So this is where the eclipse has ended. So you see that for your table, you had only 3 entries. C1 and the maximum, and this is the end, C4. So this is what you will see if you happen to be in a region which is not in that maximum band. You are going to see only a partial phase of this eclipse. All right. So then what? Why is it that perhaps you know all of this? Why is it that some eclipses are like this, where it is total, and these are wonderful eclipses, and some of these maps will show you when the next eclipse, where it is going to take place, and so on. When you have an eclipse like this, the sunlight is completely cut off, and only kind of wispy, faint corona, which is seen around the sun, is seen at that time. And sometimes you see something called a diamond ring just before this totality happens. What is the diamond ring? The diamond ring happens because, let's say this is the disk of the moon, Now the moon has a contour of valleys and mountains all around it. It's not a nice spherical object or a nice disc cut that we are seeing. So because of this contour, somewhere from this one of these valleys, the sun which was behind the moon just peeps out. And then during these total solar eclipses, you actually see that blaze of sunlight coming through that one little piece, and that is the diamond ring. And the diamond ring could happen before and just after the totality in a total solar eclipse. But this eclipse is not, of course, a total solar eclipse. As I told you, this is going to be a ring of fire solar eclipse of this kind. But even in a ring of fire eclipse, what's going to happen if you are in that belt? In fact, please explore that belt. And if you happen to be just at the edge of the belt, just at the edge of the belt, when you are at the edge of the belt, this event is going to take place just momentarily, and the moon is going to move away. It's just momentarily, moon is going to slip inside the sun, and next moment it's partial if you are at the edge of that belt. So one may think, oh, if at all I'm going to go somewhere, go into this belt, maybe I go to Kurukshetra or Dehradun or one of those places which is inside, where you will see that the moon, when it slips inside, it slips and stays there for some time. And all right, so I see that one of the questions which has come. Okay, good. I'm very happy that this question has come. See, the thing is that you should never look at the sun. You should never look at the sun directly at all. So in this case, if you are looking at the moon, you are looking at the sun. So we cannot take a look at the sun at all during this eclipse. Particularly in the annular solar eclipse, we cannot ever look at the sun directly. So following this question, let me also spend a little time in trying to help you. How are you going to see this eclipse then? If I ask you not to look at the sun, and please take this very seriously. You should not look at the sun directly. You should not look at it using some glasses, sunglasses, maybe even X-ray films, not too good and not too safe. So don't do any of that. Yeah, okay. Again, somebody is asking, is the ring of the moon good for us to see? See, when there is a lunar eclipse, you can see. I'll talk about lunar eclipse. Just let me finish the solar eclipse part. How you are going to observe the solar eclipse. So if you happen to have with you in Delhi, you can come to the planetarium and purchase these kind of solar eclipse filters. So now you still have 5-6 days. So if you come to the planetarium, but do that, Saturday planetarium may be closed, come to the planetarium and purchase these safe solar filters. So if you have these safe solar filters, you put them in such a way that they completely cover your eyes. This part comes in front of your eyes. And if you look around, normally you should not be able to see anything, not the tube light, nothing. You should not be able to see anything. And then you can look up at the sun. You can do that. If you have certified safe solar filters, you can use them to view the eclipse. Get them from the planetarium. If you're not from Delhi, maybe look up your nearest science center or planetarium, and you should be able to use these to view the eclipse. But please remember, there should not be any kind of leakage or anything like that. They should cover completely. Your eyes should come in front of these black squares, and only the sun you should be able to see, nothing else. So use these to view the eclipse. All right. And if you don't have these, and even if you have these, I would suggest don't look too much with this, but try to view the eclipse in an indirect way. What is that indirect way? I'll suggest a method to you now, and you can try it out. Just observe the sun tomorrow. Take a piece of paper. Take a piece of paper. I'm treating this as a piece of cardboard, okay? Take a piece of cardboard and make a hole in this, okay? Make a hole in this. Now, what do I mean? For tomorrow, when you're going to try, make a hole in it, maybe like a triangle or a square or a star, anything you like, but not a circle, okay? Even a circle will work, but just so that you are sure it is working, for you to know that, it'll be easier if you make your circle, your hole to be anything other than a circle. All right. Take a nice piece of cardboard, larger than this piece of cardboard, and make a hole in it. the size of half your nail size. Okay, so in that, and then make that hole and put this down on the ground. Put this down on the ground in the out in the sunlight. Look at the shadow of this piece of cardboard. Put it close to the ground and lift it up. You should be able to see the shape of the hole. If it is triangle, you will see triangle. If it is square, you will see square, and so on. And then slowly lift it up from the ground. As you lift it up from the ground, you will see that shape changing into something. Test it out today. Yeah, with the filter, you can see the sun also in normal daytime. You can see that. But once again, as I'm saying, don't keep on staring even with this. Okay, but you can see. With this, if you have this filter, you can take a look at the sun even in normal daytime. One misconception people have, and let me try and clear that, and that is that people think that at the time of eclipse, you have some special harmful rays which come, and they are going to create extra problem for you at the time of the eclipse. No, sun is always sending out harmful rays. Sun is always sending out harmful rays. So at the time of eclipse or outside, if you look at the symbol for you, with safe solar filters, you can see, or with the pinhole projection that I talked about, you can see. There's a question which says that we can't see the solar eclipse because of sun's corona. Actually, you know what? You can't see the sun's corona normally because of the glare of the sun. So sun is so bright that corona, which is always there, you don't see. All right. When there is a total solar eclipse, and the 21st eclipse is not a total solar eclipse. When there is a total solar eclipse, you can see the corona. Okay. And so at just when the corona is visible, it is safe to look at the sun. But since this eclipse doesn't have that, let's not talk too much about that. Okay. So, all right. And somebody is asking, is there a link between eclipse and frequent earthquakes? See, the thing is that solar eclipses and lunar eclipses happen when there is a perfect alignment. Perfect alignment, sun, moon, and earth. Sun, moon, and earth alignments happen, rough alignments happen every month, right? When we have the new moon and the full moon, these alignments happen every month. And our tides do get correlated with that. When we have these alignments, we have higher tides and so on. But between the normal alignment which we have, which is at the new moon or the full moon, the exact alignment that we have during eclipses, the difference is very small as far as tides are concerned. So it should not as such. But however, it is true that the sun, moon, earth alignments do create increased tides. Okay. So the next question is, can we see the solar eclipse in Mumbai and Baroda? All right. Take a look at the map. Go to these places. Click on those and see, is it showing you 5 timings or is it showing you 3 timings? So Mumbai is definitely, Mumbai, Baroda, both, it is going to be partial. It's going to be partial. But just check. Baroda, I think, I mean, just check. Just check. Go to the eclipse map. That's why I wanted to give you all a handle on such eclipse maps. Okay. Well, somebody is asking, is solar eclipse related to spirituality? See, the thing is that your spirituality is something, I mean, it's your inner, something to do with your own inner inclinations and so on. For instance, for me, my work, in a way, I mean, I have a kind of spiritual connection to it. So in that kind of a thing, if you see something very inspiring, maybe it makes you feel that here is something, nature has this beauty and so on, and maybe it will create certain feelings inside you, which are, I mean, for the good. So that's about it. Otherwise, you know, like when you make some connections which are more like astrological connections, etc., etc. So those, there is really no, there is no proof any. They actually, those reasonings are also not scientific. But anything which is inspiring to you can certainly give you a spiritual awakening. So treat it in that fashion. All right. So, okay, that was the last question which was there. I'll go back a little to some of the previous questions. So, one of the questions asked, look at the moon. Now, the thing is that when the moon is in front of the sun, you can't look at the moon. You can't look at the moon when it is causing a solar eclipse. Of course, if you have safe solar filters, then when you look at the sun, the black disk which comes in front of the sun, That is the moon. That is the moon. And in fact, amateur astronomers, when they try to image all of this, now if someone amongst you has these telescope skills and so on, then perhaps you may be doing that. Take a telescope, and suppose this is right now. Let me talk to those of you who maybe have not ever used it before. But if you happen to have with you telescope or binoculars, first thing I want to say, okay, I'll talk about corona in a while, but let me just complete what I was saying here. The first thing I want to say, if you happen to have telescope or binocular, more danger. So don't ever use it to look at the sun. But use such a telescope or a binocular, even if you have a simple toy one, that put it sun and move it around and see that its shadow. Just look at its shadow. When the shadow is shortest, then the telescope is pointing to the sun. Then from the eyepiece end, you can actually get out a projected image of the sun. All right, maybe I'll talk about it more if there are questions. There was a question about the corona. Yeah. Okay, let's discuss a little bit about corona. All right, because that is one of the hottest topics to do with the science of the sun. All right, and we in fact have a cutting edge astronomy. There is a spacecraft named Aditya, which is going to be launched. Here, it's an Indian spacecraft. ISRO and various Indian institutions working on sun science are part of this, and it is going to just for observation of sun corona. Why is sun's corona such an intriguing thing? Because you see, corona was seen from ancient to medieval times whenever there has been a total solar eclipse. So people realized that this corona emission which is there on the sun is there always, but the sun's radiation is too bright, so you don't see it. When the sun's radiation is cut off completely, then you see this wispy corona. And now from modern science, we know that the corona is very thin, very tenuous region around the basic photosphere of the sun, what is called the photosphere of the sun. There is this very thin wispy region, and we also know now from modern technology observations that this region is at a much higher temperature than the sun's surface. Now that is the amazing part of it, that why is it like this is if the sun's surface is something like about maybe 5,000 to 6,000 degree Kelvin, this is about 10⁻⁷ degree Kelvin, that hot. So why is it that this is so hot? Sun radiation is coming from inside, so the inner portion should be hotter and not the outer portions. And so this is one of the biggest really unsolved questions in astronomy to do with the science of the sun. And so the corona, therefore, whenever there are total solar eclipses, scientists, solar scientists from all over the world go to these regions where solar eclipses take place, and this has been happening from medieval times to now. Now, if you see what happens, this is the time when you can actually, scientists can actually observe the sun in eclipse almost all the time. How is that? There are some spacecrafts which are now they're outside the atmosphere of the Earth, and so they're observing the sun, and if they put an occulting disk in front, it's like they have a nice eclipse. But from here on Earth, if you put an occulting disk in front of us, we don't have an eclipse. Why is that? Because even if you put an occulting disk which will cover the whole disk of the sun, we can easily put some kind of a disk in front of us so that the entire sun disk is covered, right? Just like the moon is covering the sun from far away, from nearby we can put an occulting disk and the sun will be covered. But the thing is that ambient sunlight is all there. There is all the ambient sunlight, and so therefore it will not be possible for us to view the corona by just occulting the sun like this. However, from space, if we occult the disk of the sun, then we can actually observe it in eclipse all the time. We can observe the corona, and scientists are observing the corona all the time. However, all right, I'll answer this question about summer solstice soon. Let me just complete the discussion about the corona. And why even now when there are total solar eclipses, people actually go where the eclipse takes place, because this disk which is occulting the sun from space, from this spacecraft, it's actually a larger disk, and we actually miss a little bit of the inner corona from those spacecraft observations. That's why from down here on Earth, when there are total solar eclipses, people try to observe them so that even the inner corona can be observed. And of course, now with this spacecraft, there are going to be many observations of the corona, and we look probably the problem of the heating, maybe the solution may be just around the corner. Now there was a question, summer solstice and eclipse. Is that, yeah, I'm really happy that that question was asked. You see, solar eclipses could take place at any time during the year. I mean, there are some, see, solar eclipse will take place. Let me use these bangles that I have. Think of this as the orbit of the earth going around the sun. All right, that's the orbit of the earth going around the sun. Now think of this, the other bangle that I have, as the orbit of the moon going around the earth. Orbit of the moon going around the earth. Of course, it's going to be much smaller and it's going to be inside like this, but it is actually inclined with respect to this. I don't know if you're able to see this clearly, but the orbit of the earth and the moon are inclined by about
ma'am,
5 degrees.
if you can show your hands a little bit up. Yes.
Yeah.
This angle is there.
So yeah. So this is the angle here is about 5 degrees. This is the orbit of the moon and this is the orbit of the earth. Now moon goes around this orbit once almost every month. Earth goes around this orbit once a year. Now moon, when it goes through this orbit, it comes at these 2 points where the orbits cross. These are called the nodes of the orbit of the moon. And in Indian astronomy, now been named as Rahu and Ketu. So these nodes, and these are geometrical points, not any diamonds or anything like that. These are pure mathematical geometrical points. These nodes of the orbit of the moon. When the moon is on these nodes, all right, is only when the happen. Either a solar or a lunar eclipse can happen when the moon is at these nodes. Moves through these nodes every month. Both nodes moon crosses. But every month we don't have eclipses. Also, every month moon goes through new moon and full moon. You are aware of that, I'm sure. New moon and full moon. So, all right. So, new moon is from the earth. When we look at the moon and we look at the sun in the sky, they are about in the same location. Maybe they are not exactly in the same location, but they are nearby. When it is full moon, moon is opposite to the sun in the sky. If the sun is one side, moon is on the other side. And from there, moon will move slowly in the sky and come closer to the sun. When it is the closest to the sun, maybe not in front of the sun, but the closest to the sun in the sky, that is when we have the new moon. And then again it moves away from there, and then we have the crescent moon, half moon, and so on. And so this cycle goes on every month. And this cycle goes on every month. Moon going through both the nodes goes on every month. But if it so happens that when it is on its node, if it is also the new moon, if when the moon is on one of the nodes, if it is also the new moon, then it will be a solar eclipse. All right. So we now have a solar eclipse. Okay, welding glass, the question. Welding glass actually number about 13 or 14 is supposed to be, but I would still suggest please don't go for those. And because if you are confused about the number or so, then again safety issues there. So best is to get the proper filters or look at it in projection. That pinhole which I mentioned, it's the simplest thing that you can do. And the higher you, if you make a slightly large hole, you'll have to hold up your pinhole projector a little higher, and then you will get a little larger image of the sun. Do you have that thing with which you fry puris? Use that and hold it up, and it will show you the sun in eclipse. All right. Well, let's get back to the solstice. So if the moon comes to this node, and if it happens to be around the solstice time, like it is now, so we would have this solstice eclipse. Or if it happens to be at, we had during closer to the winter solstice and now closer to the summer solstice, we are having these eclipses. Now, the thing is that there are periodicities in this. Periodicity of moon going around the earth and earth going around the sun. And these two periodicities actually don't divide each other. And therefore, there are a whole lot of complexities when we have the combined periodicities in this. But one particular thing I wanted to mention while talking of all of this is that, let's say when the moon is in one of the nodes and it is new moon, so it is a solar eclipse now. Then you see 15 days later, the moon is going to be in the other node. But moon is also 15 days later from new moon is also going to be on the full moon phase. So if you have a solar time, there is a good possibility that 14-15 days this way, 14-15 days this way, we will have maybe a lunar eclipse. Do you know that this current solar eclipse, which is happening on the 21st of June, it was preceded by a lunar eclipse? 5th night, 6th early morning, there was a lunar eclipse. We could see it from India, except that it was a penumbral lunar eclipse. I'll talk about penumbral lunar eclipse a little later. But penumbral lunar eclipse took place 5th night, and see, 15 days before eclipse took place, then the solar eclipse, 15 days later again lunar eclipse. So early July, there is another lunar eclipse. But in India, it will not be visible. The June 5th eclipse was visible from India. The early July eclipse is not going to be visible from India. So you will see that if you actually see right now, if you are able to see this eclipse, either through solar filters or through projection, which is a pinhole projection like this, as I talk to you, pinhole projection, or I don't know whether you have any time gone out and looked under a tree and seen many circles. Many circles. I'll try to share after some time. I'll try to share these images. I would also like to mention one thing, make a request to Collins and maybe to all of you. Try to make a WhatsApp group of all the students who are present here. And so that, because this 40 minutes is not sufficient for me to give you all the help that I would like to give you to know about this eclipse. So if a WhatsApp group is made, I will try and share after some time some of these images. But I'm just asking you, have you ever looked under a tree any time and seen many circular images of the sun? I'm sure many of you must have. So what I will suggest is 21st morning around 10:30 the eclipse is going to start, right? So on 19th and 20th, 2 days before that, go out if you can. Of course, the thing is that these are difficult times. These are corona times. You're not supposed to go crowd around. You're not supposed to go around where there are crowded places. But near your house, if you happen to have some trees where it is not crowded, if you can go out and look and see under the tree, are you able to see the sun? So sun, you will see many circular images. Some circular images will merge with others, so they may not be perfect circles, but sometimes perfect circular images you'll be able to see under a tree. So if you are lucky enough near your house, okay, so I'll answer that question also. Let me just finish talking about the tree. So if you happen to see these pinhole images under a tree, you'll be very lucky because you can get large projected image of the sun and you can see the whole eclipse. And if you are able to somehow see the eclipse, one measurement I would like you to make is at least try to measure the timings C1 and C4 when the eclipse is starting and when the eclipse is ending. At least this much we should be able to make measurement. I would like to actually talk to you about more measurements which can be done. But in these difficult times, it will be difficult. It will not be possible for a planetarium to invite people and use telescope projection and so on. So more serious measurements may be a little tough, but we'll discuss them in the WhatsApp group. Now a question was, why does a lunar eclipse always happen only on a Purnima night? Yeah, a very good question. And I was looking for some balls in my prop, but I couldn't find balls. But I've just got these three. Okay, so all right, you can actually do this as a. I see that my video is not very good right now. So let me just speak.
Your video is fine, ma'am. Your video
is fine. All
yes.
right, all right. So think of this as I have this holding these three. One is the sun, one is the earth, one is the moon. Okay. All right. So now you can actually do this with three students, three people if you like. Three of you standing like this. Now from the earth, if you see the sun on one side and the moon on the other side, opposite from where you are standing, then all the sunlight which is falling on the moon can come back to you on earth and you will see the whole moon lit up. that is the full moon. So only when the moon, earth, sun position is like this. It need not be exactly in a straight line. It need not be in a straight line, but they are roughly kind of aligned. So moon can be above or below this line between sun and earth. But all the sunlight is falling on the moon, coming back to earth, and you have a full moon. So only when you have the full moon, only in this position, if the moon instead of being above or below this plane, if it is just here, then you will see that earth can cut off the light from the sun. Do you see that? It's only in this position that earth can cut off the light coming from the sun falling on the moon. And so only when you have the full moon, it is possible for earth to come in between and therefore cause a lunar eclipse. On the other hand, if this is the sun and if this is the moon and this is the earth, so what happens? In the sky, you will see the three roughly aligned. Moon may be a little here or there, above or below this plane, a little this way, but near the sun in the sky. All the sunlight falling on the moon is on this side. It's going back. So there is no sunlight here. And so you see the new moon. And only when you have the new moon, it is possible that the three come exactly in a line and the moon is able to cut off the light altogether. All right. So now once we have seen the eclipse why can't we see the eclipse in July? Oh, you mean the penumbral lunar eclipse? All right. Okay. So first of all, actually, before we talk of penumbral eclipse, let's talk about the lunar eclipse itself. All right. So in the lunar eclipse, what's happening? That the earth is cutting off the light from the sun, which was to fall on the moon. Earth is cutting off the light which was to fall on the moon, right? So earth's shadow is falling on the moon. And we are seeing it here from here on the earth. So all parts of the earth which are actually looking at the moon at this time will see the eclipse. They will see the eclipse happening at the same time. Remember in the beginning I told you that when there is a solar eclipse, different parts of earth will see it slightly different times. And Srikanth had actually clicked the table at different locations and you saw the timings were slightly different. But for a lunar eclipse, all parts of the earth which are seeing this eclipse will see it at the same time. But only half the earth will see, right? If it so happens that just when the eclipse is happening, so it is part of the hemisphere where USA, etc., they are there, they are seeing the moon, and we are not seeing the moon at that time. We are on this side of the earth. So that is what is happening. Whenever lunar eclipse takes place, about half of the earth will see it, and the other half won't see it. So we are that half which saw it in June, and we are that half where we are not seeing it in July. Okay, so that is what it is. That is why we are not seeing the eclipse. But nobody has asked me, what is this penumbral lunar eclipse? Or did somebody ask? When a penumbral lunar eclipse happens, what happens is that the shadow of the earth, which is falling on the moon, there is a shadow wherein earth is cutting off the entire sunlight. But there is also a shadow of the earth on a larger region where it is not cutting off the entire sunlight, but it is cutting off only part of the sunlight. So that is the kind of shadow which is happening just now. And so only part of the sunlight is cut off from falling on the moon. When that happens, if you look at the moon continues to look like a full moon. Only when it is the penumbral eclipse, maybe a small bit of a darkening on one side of the moon, you'll be able to see. So penumbral lunar eclipse is almost like, okay, it's full moon. I can't even see that there is an eclipse when the penumbral shadow falls on the moon. So that is what is a penumbral lunar eclipse. And for some reason, well, these reasons are to do with, as I told you, the complicated periodicities which come in. See, we have three bodies, the sun, earth, and the moon. And there are two periodicities, moon going around the earth and earth going around the sun. These two periodicities, and you will actually, if you try to find out the year and the moon, the period, month, and you try to divide, they don't exactly divide. And we have, in fact, a complicated calendar division also because of that, right? So that itself is going to give you a lot of complicated periodicities when eclipses happen. On top of that, Earth is an extended object. When solar eclipse happens, it happens only in part of the Earth. So from that point also, you will see that There is a rich variety in how the eclipses take place. And if you see the eclipse from one location, the next eclipse seems you can't see it from that location. Although sometimes, for instance, just now we are having this annular solar eclipse, right? In India, we saw it in December also. But in December, it was southern parts of India which saw the maximum annular part of the eclipse. And now in June, it is northern part of India. You saw that map, right? So I'll actually ask you to go and try to find out the original, all the set of maps. You just look up solar eclipse interactive maps, and the person who has created them, Xavier Jubio. And maybe when we have the WhatsApp group, we'll have more discussions on this. Okay, what is umbra lunar eclipse? Okay, penumbral lunar eclipse and umbral lunar eclipse. So if the shadow of the sun, the entire shadow, entire sun is cut off in the shadow of the earth, then you have an umbral lunar eclipse. That is when you will actually see darkening on the moon, slow darkening. The white full moon slowly starts getting darkened, and then a reddish hue appears on the dark part. And then when it is maximum, you will see the entire moon shining with a faint, dull red glow. That is the total lunar eclipse that is taking place. That's the umbral shadow. The entire sunlight is cut off. But then the question should come to you, if the entire sunlight is cut off, where is this dull red glow coming from? The entire sunlight was cut off by the earth. Yes, sun cut off the entire sunlight. However, the atmosphere of the earth, sunlight is passing through the atmosphere, and then when it is passing through the atmosphere, various things happen to it. It doesn't just go forward in a straight line like that. Some of it gets scattered, some of it gets bent, and in the bent radiation which is falling on the moon here, the red part is more likely to go and fall on the moon, and a little bit of the sunlight has gone and fallen on the moon, and it is coming back to earth, and we see that faint, dull, reddish glow of the moon in a total lunar eclipse. You won't see this in a penumbral lunar eclipse. Penumbral lunar eclipse looks like the full moon. At the maximum, one edge of the moon, you may see a small darkening. That's about it. And so we won't see the eclipse, of course, lunar eclipse, which is ahead. But over the next few years, you will see various lunar eclipses. There are many online tables which will give you all of this information. There is one solar eclipse software I wanted to show you with my screen share, but just at the moment I'm having a little trouble with my system, so I'm not going to show it. Maybe we'll do it in the next session. Okay, how exactly does watching the sun during the solar eclipse damage our eyes? Okay, a very good question. I'm happy that this question came before we stop this session. See, what happens is that sun is sending out a lot of radiation. So it's sending out optical, it sends infrared, ultraviolet, even X-ray. Lot of radiations are coming out from the sun. And so when they come and these radiations fall, if we look at the sun direct, if they fall on the skin, well, sometimes people get a little bit of sunburn and all that. Some small damage may happen, or sometimes people don't. It doesn't burn. But it's only when the sunlight falls directly into your eye, it goes into your retina. So it can actually burn the retina. So the burning of the retina happens painlessly when you look at the sun. And so the damage may be small at that time. The more you look, there will be more of the damage, but there will be retinal burn whenever you look at the sun. And it may not affect you immediately, but that retinal burn the degradation will show up over the years. So it is very dangerous because you could lose your eyes. So you should not look at the sun. All right. If you have ever done that, also do not do that. Do not do that. And therefore, only use safe solar filters like this, or the pinhole imaging, which I talked about, or if you happen to have a telescope or a binocular which doesn't have plastic parts, take them out into the sun, but don't use them to look at the sun. Just move them around and look at the shadow. When the shadow is shortest, you have to put the objective end towards the sun. When the shadow is shortest, from the eyepiece end, if you put a piece of paper on the other side, you should actually see a nice image of the sun on that. Of course, there are some more things which have to be taken care of in this. It will be good if you have a telescope on a tripod. because, holding it by hand, there's a lot of shade. So if you have a tripod and a telescope, a simple telescope, which you can purchase in a store, but it should not have plastic parts. Then you hold it on the tripod, turn it to the sun, and hold a piece of paper on this end. It should show an image of the sun. And then you may want to put a baffle around the objective of the telescope to give a little bit of, somehow get a little bit of shade on the screen. Then you will be able to see it better. And then so on, one by one, you can actually go to more and more sophisticated ways in which you can observe the sun. So you do this. We have sometimes, made a whole room and then use the telescope and then given an image of the sun inside the room. We did that in December 2019. You can have a telescope which is actually tracking the sun. Meaning, the sun keeps moving in the sky, right? So as it moves, you can have a kind of a motor on the telescope which tracks it. Okay, can we look at the moon before? See, a lunar eclipse you can see. You can see the lunar eclipse. You can see the moon at any time except when it is in front of the sun. Or even when it is very close to the sun, trying to locate the moon, like, the Prathama, Dvitiya. Up by Tritiya, it may be a little further that you will be able to see perhaps. But otherwise, other than when it is close to the sun, you can look at the moon at any time. But don't look at the moon on the solar eclipse day. When it is the new moon, don't look at the moon. Of course, only when it is in front of the sun, on a new moon day, it becomes visible. But you should only see it through the filters or through all the safe methods which I talked to you. Lunar eclipse, you can aram se see it. There is no problem. Well, if you take a powerful telescope and look at the moon, full moon, it hurts your eyes a little. So one should avoid that. There are even lunar filters which come. But other than that, it is safe. With your naked eye, you can always look at the moon. Look at the lunar eclipse and you can again try and make measurements. When the next lunar eclipse happens, try and make measurements. When has the eclipse started? When has it ended? And so on. Okay, can we see the sun's corona using the telescope? See, the thing is that if you put the solar, if you use the telescope and use the projection, at the time of when the totality, when just the corona is visible, it doesn't show up in projection. When there is a total solar eclipse and for those just brief time, few seconds or maybe a minute or 2 minutes or maximum sometimes, there are some 6-7 minutes totality. At the time of totality, when the corona is visible, you can see it with naked eyes. But please remember, this eclipse is not that. In this eclipse, there is no totality. In this eclipse, no corona is going to be visible. Okay? But in future, if sometime you go and see a total solar eclipse, at the time of the diamond ring, it is not safe to see. After the diamond ring, corona comes, you can see it with your naked eyes. Corona. And then the diamond ring comes again. No, you have to put the filter. And so you can see at the time of totality, you can look at the sun. But again, please let me repeat, not during this eclipse. Because this eclipse there is no totality. So there is no safe time to look at the sun during this eclipse with your naked eyes. Only with filters or in projection. So now tomorrow you make your simple pinhole projection apparatus and take pictures of the image that you're getting and try to put it in the WhatsApp group. Shrikant, is it possible that we may have a WhatsApp group of all the students who are present?
We'll have to discuss, but they can post it as a comment on Facebook.
Okay.
Because this is going live on Facebook.
The group is formed and on Facebook, if you just give the link, those students who wish to join could join in the WhatsApp group. We could do that because I would like to keep in touch with them for the, okay, what is the rarest eclipse? Well, the thing is, from Earth, if you are seeing, solar eclipses are rare, and solar eclipse, which is going to take place over a long period of time, they're also relatively rare. So, like for instance, historically, there was times when about 7 minutes of totality was there. So, a very rare thing to happen. Even rarer than these eclipses are events which are called transits. Transits are again related to eclipse-like events, but instead of moon coming in front of the sun, suppose one of the inner planets. Which are the inner planets? Only Mercury and Venus. So if they come in front of the sun, as we see from Earth, all right? So there was a Mercury transit recently. There was a Venus transit in 2012 and in 2004. But in our lifetime now, we are not going to see Venus transit, a very inspiring event. but you can learn about it online. And so these events are very rare. So Venus transit, as I told you, it's one of the rarest of all of these class of events. And one other thing that you can think about, and using software, you can actually experience it perhaps. There are some software wherein you can go anywhere in solar system. There are plenty such software. I think there's one called Redshift, there's one called Starry Night Pro, and so on. So with those, you can virtually, and many planetarium software, you can virtually go to other planets, go to Mars, go to Jupiter. They have moons, right? So what about there? Do eclipses happen there? Mars has 2 moons, Phobos and Deimos. So do they come in front of the sun? Actually, they do. And in fact, Mars rovers, the robotic exploration which NASA has been doing, where there are rovers moving around on the surface of Mars, have captured some of these events. Phobos and Deimos moving in front of the sun as seen from Mars. However, what happens there is that sun is a big disk, and Phobos and Deimos do something like an annular eclipse from there. And much less of the sun is covered than in an annular eclipse that we see from Earth. And from Jupiter, what happens? The moons, there are times from Earth you can see some of these events. What happens? These moons, maybe they go in front of Jupiter, maybe they go behind Jupiter, or maybe they are eclipsed by Jupiter. So many such Jupiter moon events take place, and they take place very frequently. So if you have a moderate aperture telescope, you should be able to see these Jupiter events, and this is safe. If you have a telescope and you're able to point it to Jupiter, you don't have to worry about safety. But you have to worry about how you're going to point it to Jupiter, what is the aperture of your telescope, are you able to see the moons of Jupiter? That's very inspiring. I hope all of you sometime or other get a chance to look through the telescope. Okay, once these difficult corona times are over, planetarium is going to again put out telescopes once every month, and hope that time you'll all come and take a look at Jupiter through a telescope. And maybe we will discuss these in the coming other episodes of Doorstep Astronomy, some of the celestial events which can be seen. Okay, so obviously solar eclipse is the dangerous one. Lunar eclipse, there is nothing, no danger. Lunar eclipse is easy to see whenever it happens. If you happen to be in the location where you can see it aram se, itminan se, there is no problem. If you happen to have a pair of binoculars or so, then maybe you can try and see a little bit clearer. But I mean, you can observe lunar eclipse, no danger. Solar eclipse, danger. Definitely danger. Sun itself is danger. Looking at the sun is dangerous. So let me just repeat that again and again. I probably said it many, many times, but just because, I mean, all of you are children, and I feel there is a need to emphasize this, that do not think it's okay, अरे चलता है देख लेंगे, मैंने देखा है कोई नहीं होता, कुछ नहीं होता. No, because when you look at the sun, you at that time no harm may be apparent to you, but the harm will take place much later. Okay, over the years that retinal burn is going to show up. So do not ever look at the sun without proper protective filters, or the sun in projection. The sun in projection is very nice, and the advantage of having the sun in projection is that you can actually also do some measurements. If you are lucky enough to get a pinhole image of the sun under the tree, then use that. Take a photograph of the eclipse, put a graph sheet where you can see that pinhole image under the tree, and take a photograph of the eclipse as it is happening. So you can see the progress of the eclipse on that graph sheet. Count the number of millimeter squares which are inside the eclipse, and count the number of millimeter squares which are outside the eclipse once you have this photograph. That's a very nice way of taking some measurements. I hope at least 1 or 2 of you are lucky enough to find tree pinhole images near you at the time of the eclipse. But you can't go around looking on the day of the eclipse. Look for it the day before or the day before, between 10:30 to 12:30. Is there any time when a tree near you is showing the sun as a pinhole image? And then on the day of the eclipse, you will see that that tree is going to show you the eclipse. And as I told you, then put a graph sheet there on the ground and take photographs of the eclipse that is happening. So that will be really wonderful. If you are able to do that and share with us, it will be really very good. And I mean, I have not come across students doing this before. So if you are able to do this, you will be maybe one of the first to have done this. So we can do something quantitative with this. I hope somebody or other will try this. I'm also going to look out whether there are trees which are going to show this, but I'm not, I mean, none of us can be sure we are going to find trees which will show exactly at that time. Because you see, tree pinhole images are dependent on, there are gaps in the leaves of the tree. So what is the foliage like? Where are the gaps? What is the angle of the sun at that time? So this is, you cannot predict when you are going to see tree pinhole. But you do see them quite frequently. I see them all the time. I'm so sensitive to it. I am always on the lookout for tree pinhole images. So if we have the WhatsApp group or on Facebook later on, when we have further, maybe we can have further discussions as chat on the Facebook page. I will try to share some images of how these different kind of visualizations of the eclipse in projection can be undertaken. So I'm not doing it just now with screen sharing because of some issues. So let's continue with my speaking and your questions in chat. So I hope all of you could hear me clearly, and some of these demonstrations that I did, I hope you could view those easily. And if you have any further questions about this eclipse, you know what? See, eclipses have been happening from time immemorial, right? And from the very beginnings of civilization, people may have had observed this eclipse. Lunar eclipses, certainly. Now, solar eclipses, people may not have known that it is dangerous, and maybe they looked at it directly. Some people may, and maybe there have been things which happened. Maybe people lost their eyes, and that's how even the superstitions have started, and so on. But the thing is that once we come to a little more scientific observations of the eclipse, I want to tell you about one from our country from about 400 years back. In the year 1615, there was an annular solar eclipse, but it was seen as a partial eclipse from Delhi. And you know who observed it and wrote about it? The Mughal Emperor Jahangir. So we don't know how he observed it. He probably did not have equipment like a telescope. Telescope came into India just a little after that, or maybe he was given one telescope as a gift. Perhaps, we don't know. But even so, we don't know how he observed it. Maybe he observed it under a tree. But he actually said the eclipse lasted for so much time and this much fraction of the sun was eclipsed and so on. So how did he do that? Maybe he did it under a tree. Why don't you also do it? Try doing it through either a pinhole projection or under a tree. If it is under a tree, the advantage is you will get a large sized projection. Also, if you are making a pinhole, suppose you make a larger hole. Suppose you are able to go up to the terrace and hold it up and let the shadow fall down on the ground. Then even with a larger hole and you will get a larger distance, so you should get a larger size projected image. So try all of these and we'll discuss this a little more. Try and see what you can get for projected image of the sun and try to take photographs of that. And as I suggested, if you get a slightly larger projected image, put a graph sheet on the projected image and take photographs throughout the eclipse. That will be wonderful. So I hope some of you will do that.
Sure.
So if there are, yeah.
And one last question, because I think you've answered quite a few questions from the students. So one last question is, please explain how to look for pinhole images near trees.
Near trees?
Yes.
Okay, actually now if you are able to just go out in the sun tomorrow and take a walk where there are trees and just look where the shadow of the tree falls. And there if you are able to see bright circles, that's the sun in projection. A number of circles, and some of them will be perfect circles, some will merge with others, and so they may not be perfect circles. So this happens very frequently. I see it almost all the time. So maybe we've just not seen it so much. So that's why we think that, oh, can it really be seen? You might think, "Arey baap re, ye to kabhi dekha nahi humne, kabhi dekhega nahi." But no, this happens very frequently. However, there is no guarantee it will be there at the time of the eclipse. But we have about duration of 2 to 2.5 hours or more duration of the eclipse. So between 10:30 and 12:30 or so, or about even up to 1:30, you look around and see whether under the tree where the shadow is, Do you see circular images, perfect circles? This is the sun. Tomorrow, day after, you will see them as perfect circles. But on 21st, between 10:30 and whatever the time when the eclipse is ending, you will see the eclipse under the tree. And that's the safest way of observing the eclipse. So I hope many of you will observe it and get pictures of it under the tree.
Exactly. Sure, ma'am.
Okay?
Yeah. So, therefore, shall we conclude, ma'am, the session?
Yeah, were there any other questions?
I think these were the questions. There is another question, ma'am. Yeah, when the same pattern of solar eclipse repeats every 18 years, 11 days, 8 hours, what is it known as?
Yeah, okay, good. I'm happy that question was asked. This periodicity is called Saros. Okay, so just look up about it because there's a whole lot of information about it and I can't tell you all of it. But remember, I told you that there are these two periodicities. The moon going around the earth, earth going around the sun. So it's not really, you can't really divide one by the other. But like you have your, what is this, LCM, lowest common multiple. So you try to take lowest common multiple of these two periodicities. So when you do that, you come across this period of about 18 years something, wherein, you know, it's possible that if you had an eclipse taking place, let's say, at one time, 18 years later, similar kind of eclipse could take place. Eclipses will take place throughout that 18 years. Many eclipses may take place. But the same kind of geometry configuration which was there for this eclipse will repeat after about 18 years. So then this series of eclipses spaced by about that 18 years is called a Saros series. But once again, this is not an exact 18 years. There is still a little more time than that. But within that series, so you will see that there is roughly the same kind of, but that still doesn't mean that if you have an eclipse, let's say like in this eclipse, Kurukshetra is going to see the eclipse on 21st. 18 years later, there will be a small change. It may not be Kurukshetra again which sees it. So that is because Earth is again, if you just treat Earth, Sun and Moon as point objects, you have this Saros series. But because Earth is an extended object, you have further complications. And so there is this rich complexity of phenomenon that happen for the eclipse. All right. Shall we wrap it up here now?
Yes, ma'am, we can wrap it up. So on behalf of Colons Learning, we would like to thank Ratnashri ma'am for taking off her time and joining us for a wonderful session right before the solar eclipse and the annual, after the annual lunar eclipse. So that's a wonderful session by you, ma'am. Thanks for clarifying a lot of doubts and taking so many questions that would have cleared many people's doubts. So we request anyone whosoever wants to share the pictures, you can share the pictures in the comment section of this video. This video is always live on Facebook. So we request all of you to do that, and we promise you it shall be shared with Ratnashri ma'am too. And we also would like to thank the organization Nehru Planetarium and Nehru Memorial Museum and Library for helping us with this. So thank you so much, and we wish all a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you. I mean, I'm very happy to be part of this, and I'm sorry that I had a little bit of issues with my setup, but I hope I could convey enough about the eclipse for all of you.
Yes. And one last request, we request all the participants on Facebook to kindly not share their mobile numbers. We had a lot of sessions on cyber hacking and all that. So we request all of you to please be safe. Do not share your numbers. If you are able to delete it, kindly get back, delete the numbers. We wouldn't encourage this happen because of cyber security issues. So we just hope all of you understand this and also the seriousness of not sharing the numbers. And so we would appreciate if you bring them down. So thank you so much. And we wish all of you a wonderful and a happy week ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.